It's January, so that time of year again. Today we're going to talk about all the things you need to think about as a buyer for your 30-day reset to start the new year before you get pre-approved, before you start looking at houses, and definitely before you start looking at Zillow. Hey everyone, my name's Brennen Clouse. I'm your favorite Seattle area realtor. Today I'm going to talk you through the steps to do a 30-day reset in the new year in 2026 to get ready as a buyer to go out and find the home that you love. Now, these are all steps that I would encourage you to take before you start looking at Zillow, browsing on Redfin, or even talking to a lender. This is really important because this is going to prepare you to make that big decision of what house you want to purchase and help you find it faster, honestly. If January is definitely when everyone decides, okay, this is the year that I'm going to buy a house, there's an influx of buyers who come out right after the new year thinking about their 2026 plans. And if you're part of that group, that's great. Hey, welcome. And let's talk about what you need to do to really get prepared for that. Most buyers jump in way too quickly. We want to make sure before you're scrolling Zillow, booking tours, and falling in love with homes that you're not prepared to compete for and losing time, money, or confidence in the process that we go through these steps that I'm about to outline. And you don't want to miss the final step. There's going to be 6 different steps, so stick around for the end because the last one will be the culmination and you're not going to want to miss that. So it's time for a New Year's resolution you can stick to. Today we're doing a 30-day pre-buying reset, a tactical reset you can start right now that will make you stronger, clearer, and more competitive as a buyer before you even step foot into a showing. We're going to cover financial prep, neighborhood scouting, and even the psychology of becoming a confident buyer. Before we dive in, tell me in the comments right now, are you planning to buy this year or are you still deciding? Section number 1 is all about financial prep. So before you even go to a lender and start talking about a mortgage, financial prep is where every buyer needs more clarity. And the truth is, this preparation actually matters far more than the actual amount of money that you've saved. You need to understand your debt to income ratio, your comfort zone, how much you want to pay monthly and how much you're comfortable paying monthly, and what your actual buying power looks like. This is all going to be very different than just what an online calculator spits out based on how much money you make. And that's because that's going to give you your maximum amount. I'm talking about thinking through those items that you don't want to go to your max on, that you want to spend on, but you don't want to overspend on and become, as you know, house poor. That's what a lot of people do, is they don't think about exactly how much they want to spend, and then they end up spending more than they want. So January is the perfect month to get brutally honest with how your house budget is going to look. So look at your last 3 months of spending, identify any places where money is leaking out or where maybe you've overspent in the past 3 months, and then talk about, either with your partner or with yourself, what you can comfortably afford monthly in a mortgage. And given you're going to be spending a big amount of money on your down payment, most likely, so factor that in when that's out of your bank account as well. And think about your lifestyle at the same time. You don't want to buy a house and then have a lifestyle where you don't feel like you can go out and do the things that you used to do because you're now house poor. Buyers who do this early are always able to make quicker decisions. They're able to be calmer throughout the process of decision making. And it's very easy to say, hey, no, I don't want to go look at that house because it's out of my budget. So think about that now ahead of time. Step number 2, you're going to do a credit tune-up. Your credit score impacts your interest rate. It impacts the type of loans that you can get, and it even impacts your monthly payment. So you really need to be aware of what your credit score is. I'm curious in the comments below, do you know your credit score and have you checked it recently? Leave a comment now. So that credit score is a big piece of what's going to happen. The good news is that a lot of your credit can shift in 30 days. So get a free credit report online and think about the small tweaks that maybe you need to be paying. Maybe you need to pay down some revolving debt. Maybe you need to dispute an old error on your credit report so that you could bump your score up faster. Now, this is something you definitely want to do before you start applying for a pre-approval of your loan or mortgage. There is something called a rapid rescore that a lot of lenders offer, so they can help you get your credit to a better spot and then get a rescore really quickly. But I would recommend, before you even start looking, before you talk to that lender, go in and do your own research. Is there something on your credit that you need to fix before you start this process? Because again, you're going to go into the process a lot calmer, a lot more confident, and you'll be able to make better decisions overall about what you're buying. This is super important to do also so before you fall in love with a house. I don't want you to go out or scroll on Zillow and fall in love with something and then figure out that your credit isn't where you need it to be and you get locked into a terrible interest rate. So be aware of that and think about how you can fix that now versus after you find the home you love. Step number 3, I want you to start scouting neighborhoods. Now, this is a step that a lot of buyers skip or that adds a lot of time to their home buying process. And the reason I say this is because oftentimes if you don't come into the search understanding the neighborhood that you want, you're going to have analysis paralysis because you have too many neighborhoods to pick from. So I'm talking about, instead of just scrolling listings, I want you to go out and find the neighborhood that is 80% right for you, that's going to be long-term satisfaction. You can change houses in a neighborhood, but you cannot change the neighborhood. It's the old saying that buy the worst house on the best street in the neighborhood. It still applies to neighborhoods in general. You want to find the neighborhood that's best for you and then find the right house within that neighborhood. So you have to start going to neighborhoods. So over the next 30 days, you need to start paying attention to what are the commuting patterns like? Can you walk where you want to walk in that neighborhood? Is the noise level okay? What are the local businesses around there? And can you see yourself going to those businesses? I'm not talking about going to the neighborhood on Saturday at noon when everything is quiet and peaceful and you see all of the neighbors out in their yards. I'm talking about going during the high traffic times, the noisiest times, going at night, walking around to figure out what is the best neighborhood for you and what energizes you. Some people think that they're going to get into a neighborhood and they want to be in the suburbs because they want a yard and they want more space, and then come to find out they actually wanted to be able to walk to a restaurant or walk to coffee. So what is that blend for you and what's going to be the right fit for you? Doing this step alone over the next 30 days will cut months off of your home purchase search because you'll be able to know, I want X, Y, and Z neighborhood and not ABC neighborhood. So you need to do this research now in this 30-day reset to get yourself ahead. Next 30 days, I want you to think about long-term planning. Most buyers plan for the next 12 months, but the smartest buyers are thinking 5 to 7 years ahead. And not because you need a long-term commitment, but because little insights into what you want now could change over the next 5 to 7 years. And being aware of that and preventing some of those issues that can come up in the next 5 to 7 years right now is the smartest move you can make. Ask yourself some questions like, are you planning on working from home long-term, or will you be returning to office in the future? Will you be changing jobs? Is your commute going to change? Are you doing something like starting a business, or do you want to have friends over for dinner? Are you potentially going to need a smaller house in a few years, or is your family going to grow and you need a bigger house in a few years? These are all going to influence the kind of home that you need to support your lifestyle instead of restricting your lifestyle. And this is something that a lot of buyers miss. This is where you need to think strategically about when you're going to resell the home. You want to buy a home now that someone else is going to want to purchase in 5 to 10 years. Even if it's not your forever home, you want to buy something another buyer is going to want. That's part of the real estate game, is reselling this home, because unless you plan to be there for 30 years, which most people who think they are going to be don't end up being there that long because life changes and life happens, you need to think about things like good windows, solid layout for your lifestyle, practical storage, functional parking for yourself if that's something you need. These details are going to matter, not just in the next 12 months, but think about that next 5 to 7 years and what does that look like for you. Now let's talk about buyer psychology. So the biggest obstacle in the buying process isn't money or competition. It's actually your mindset going into it. When you enter the home search without some clarity, confidence, or emotional resilience, every decision can feel way heavier than it needs to be. Trust me, I've been through enough of these to know that that's the case. These next 30 days are your chance to reset your expectations. I want you to remember and get comfortable with the idea that homes are not perfect. No home is going to be perfect. Timing is not going to be perfect. You cannot time buying a home, unfortunately. I think you can do somewhat of timing when you sell your home, but I don't believe you can time buying a home unless you have everything completely ready. And interest rates are always going to be imperfect as well. You're never going to have the perfect interest rate. What can be perfect or what can prepare you is being prepared, having the right mindset going in, having clarity on what you want, the numbers that you're comfortable with and your budget, and how you're going to navigate all of these decisions without spiraling yourself. Make a short list of your non-negotiables, and the reality qualities you're willing to compromise on. We tell our clients to make a list of 5 must-haves and 2 nice-to-haves. And then you can score every single house you look at on a scale of 7. Did it have your 5 must-haves, and did it have any of the 2 nice-to-haves? That's all you get in your score. Because again, homes are never going to be perfect. Buyers who do this ahead of time are able to move faster, negotiate from a place of strength and power instead of from fear and worry. We've made it to the final step. Now, the 6th step, you are ready for the pre-approval. Once you're done with this 30-day reset, your finances, credit, neighborhood scouting, long-term planning, and mindset work, then you get your pre-approval for your mortgage. You talk to a lender, you figure out the numbers together based on that new credit score that you have or the understanding of the credit score, what neighborhood you want to be in, what those prices look like. This is the part that so many buyers rush into. And honestly, I wish I could help people be less rushed in this process, because most people get pre-approved first and then they work backwards. But when you flip the order, you can actually gain a lot of leverage for yourself and just your peace of mind throughout. You'll have a clearer loan structure, better payment expectations for that loan, and often you'll have a stronger pre-approval if you do some of those credit cleanups and your finances are already optimized for what you want to spend. This single change makes the entire home buying process much less chaotic. So start with a 30-day reset and then you can get pre-approved. So that's your new year 30-day reset for buying a home. You're going to go through this pre-buying reset, and trust me, it's not about slowing down. It's about being prepared, getting you ready for the right home. Buyers who prepare intentionally make sharper decisions and win more offers, especially in competitive markets. And they do it all with more confidence. Tell me below in the comments, what's the first reset you're going to take this month? And if you want more buyer education like this or more tips in general about buying and selling real estate, follow the channel, hit subscribe, and then like this video if you thought it was helpful, or even better, send it to a friend that you know needs this reset before they start buying. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brennen Clouse. We'll see you again on the next one.